Hello guys, welcome. On today's tutorial, we are going to look at the linear model of observation equation of least squares. Right, good. So in a certain experiment of 4 observations from y1, this is y1 to y4, at a certain fixed location of x1 to x4, right, good. And then given this table we have here. Now suppose it is desired to model the observations that's from y1 to y4 mathematically by the way of finding a functional relationship between y and x, right, good, such as we now establish the relationship y equal to mx plus c, right, good. So we should find the parameters, that's m and c, that's the least square estimate of the functional relationship we have in this set of observation, right, good, and then also perform a post analysis on the result. The model to use is that of a straight line which says y is equal to mx plus c, where we know that m is actually what, the slope or the gradient, and then c is the intercept on the y-axis, right, good. So while we have y and x as the two variables that we are working with, one is dependent and the other is independent, right? So if we now try to relate this our formula to our equation, it simply means that wherever we have y, we are going to substitute the value of y to it, and then wherever we have x, we are also going to do the same, right, good. And then you will see that m and c will actually be what, constant along the line, right, good, or let's say all true. So if we do the substitution, we now see that when y is 2, you have y to be 2 is equal to mx. Now x is 1, so x times m will still give you m plus c, which is still what, c, right, good. You come to the second line, or maybe the second pair, you have when y is 3, that's this 3, x is also 3, so you have what, 3 times m, that's 3m plus c. That's our second equation. You come to the third equation where y is equal to 4, you've seen 4 here, and then x is equal to 3, so you have 3m plus c down to the fourth one, right, good. Now from the above equations we can form the A matrix, which is what, the design matrix, and then the LB matrix, right, good, which is the observation matrix, right, good. So from that we now have A to B. Since these are the variables we're interested in, this simply means when you look at equation 1, you are going to see m, right, good, and the coefficient of m is 1 and the coefficient of c is 1. That's why you can see 1 and 1 here. You come to equation 2, you are going to see that the coefficient of m here is 3, that's why you have seen 3, and that of c is 1, that's why you've seen 1. The coefficient of m on the third equation is 3, that of c is 1, that's why it's 3 and 1. And then the coefficient of m on equation 4 is 4, and then that of c is 1, that's why you can see what, 4 and 1, right, good. Then that of the observation, which is what we have on the left hand side, right, good, and they actually represent what, our y-axis, right, good. So that's the LB. Now we should recall this formula, that the parameter we are trying to estimate is equal to A transpose A inverse multiplied by A transpose LB, right, good. So this implies that we need the transpose of A matrix, right, good, since we are working with this. So the first thing we are going to do is to transpose our A matrix, which means we are converting rows to columns. So it will now be, instead of it to be, this is row, that's 4 row and then 2 columns, right, good. So we have a 4 by 2 matrix here. So when we do the transpose, we now have a 2 by 4 matrix. So we now have what, 2, 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, right, good. So we convert the rows to columns, so it will be 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, and then 4, 1, right, good. So we have 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, and then 4, 1, right, good. Now we need the product of the transpose and the matrix itself, which is what, A transpose A, right, good. So we do matrix multiplication. So when you are trying to multiply two matrices, the row in one must be equal to the column in the other, right, good. That makes the two matrices multipliable. So we have 1 times 1, which is 1, plus 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 4 times 4, which is what, 16, right, good. So we have about 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 14 plus 16 rather, which is what, 35, because 4 times 4 is what, 16. So you do the same thing for this first line, that's this first row and this second column, right, good. So this will now be 1 times 1, which is 1, plus 3 times 1, which is 3, plus 3 times 1, which is 3, and then plus 4 times 1, which is 4. Right, good. So that's 11. So that's how you multiply matrices. This multiplied by this multiplied by this. You come down to the second row, multiplying the first column, second row multiplying the second column, and then you have what? The elements. Right, good. So since we have determined the product of A transpose A, we now need to get the inverse. Right, good. Now, but to do that, we need the determinant first, which is this. Now, when you're trying to get the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix, we have A, B, C, D. What this simply means is that, you know, the rule of determinant, this multiplied by this minus this multiplied by this. Right, good. So that's what you have seen here, AD minus BC. Right, good. So it simply means that we have AD, which is 35 times 4, which is senior, minus 11 times 11, which is also senior. Right, good. So that's 140 minus 121, which is what? 11. Right, good. So that's the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix. Therefore, the inverse will now be which we are trying to get on this first side of our formula. So the inverse will now be 1 over the determinant, and then when you're trying to get the determinant, the inverse rather, of a 2 by 2 matrix, having gotten the determinant, it's now the change the positions of A and D, and then you change the signs of what? B and C. Right, good. Which means you take A to where D is, and then you take D to where A is, and then you change the signs of what? B and C. Right, good. So if we go by our formula, if we go by our matrix here, it simply means bringing 4 here and taking 35 here, and then making this minus 11 and making this minus 11. Right, good. So that's what we have gotten here. 4, 35 minus 11 minus 11, and then we have what? Our determinant dividing through. Right, good. So this simply means we have 4 over 19 minus 11 over 19 minus 11 over 19, and then 35 over 19. By the time this 1 over 19 multiplies into this our matrix. Right, good. So this is now the inverse of what? A transpose A. Right, now that's one side of the formula. To the right hand side, we now have A transpose L. We have gotten the transpose of A, and we also know what? L. Right, good. So how does that go? It simply means 1 times 2 plus 3 times 3 plus 3 times 4 plus 4 times 4. Right, so we have 1 times 2, which is 2, plus 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 3 times 4, which is 12, plus 4 times 4, which is 16. So that gives you what? 39. Right, good. So you do similar stuff for this. 1 times 2, 1 times 3, 1 times 4, and then 1 times 4. Right, good. So this simply means 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4. Right, that's 13. Right, good. So that's the product of A transpose L. Then we can now couple them together to now get what? The X, which is what? A transpose A inverse multiplied by what? A transpose L. Right, good. So this simply means that our A transpose A inverse, which is this, remember that when you multiply this 1 over the determinant into this matrix, you have 4 over 19 minus 11 over 19 minus 11 over 19, and then 35 over 19. Right, good. Multiplied by A transpose L, which is what? This last product we got, which is 33 and 19. Right, good. So when you do the multiplication, you are going to have 13 over 19 and then 26 over 19, which are approximately these values. Right, so if you come back to our first design matrix, so if you come back to our design matrix, you are going to see that what we are trying to determine are actually what? M and C. Right, good. So when we have gotten the estimate, it simply means that the first value represents that of M, and then the second value represents that of what? C. Right, good. So we are now going to proceed to calculate the residual. The residual for this linear model is V equal to A multiplied by X minus LB. Right, good. So we already know what A is, which are design matrix, X, which are the estimated parameters, minus LB, which are observations. Right, good. So we already have declared them here. From the processes so far, this was what we calculated. These two we are given. Right, good. So from the above, we can multiply A by X. Right, so as we have been doing before, remember, for two matrices to be multiplied, the row in one must be equal to the column in the other. Right, good. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 to be what? The rows, and then we have 1 and 2 to be the column. Right, good. And then in this case, we have what? 1 and 2 to be the rows, right? Good. So the column here is equal to the row here, therefore they can be multiplied. So we go by 1 multiplied by 13 over 19 plus 1 multiplied by 26 over 19. We come to 3 multiplied by 13 over 19, 1 multiplied by 26 over 19. Same thing, 3 times 13 over 19, 1 times 26 over 19. That's what you've seen here down, right? Good. So by the time you open the brackets and then you add them together, you have these values, right? Now we have retained our denominator, or we have maintained, right, our denominator to be 19, right? So yours can be in decimals, there is no problem. Ensure that you always have a calculator by you so that you can confirm some of these are values. So when you have done that, you have the matrix of A times X, right? The next thing is for you to bring in L, because it's actually AX minus L. So we come back here to be, okay, this is a short form of AX. So V, which is equal to AX minus L, will now be this. By the time you have subtracted this AX from what? L, which is this, right? Good. So what happened there was that we converted the matrix L so that the denominators will be 19, right? But remember, we have told you earlier that you can have your values in decimals, right? So if you don't want to use fractions, you can actually use decimals, and then your answers will be correct. So V equal to AX minus L has been resolved to this in the decimal form, right? Good. So this is a column matrix, right? Good. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which are 4 rows, and then 1 column, right? Good. Now we are going to perform the post analysis to determine the variance covariance matrix of X, where the diagonal elements are the variances of each parameters, and then the up diagonal elements are the covariances between the parameters, right? Good. So from our observation, the degree of freedom n minus n is what? 4 minus 2. So what this simply means is that we have 4 observations. If you recall, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the unknowns that we are looking for are actually what? M and C, right? Good. So that defines the degree of freedom. So from our observation, we have seen that the degree of freedom n minus m is what? 4 minus 2, which is 2. And then we should also recall that we have a formula that gives us the estimate for the variance covariance matrix to be the apostrophe variance multiplied by A transpose A inverse, right? Good. So where the apostrophe variance is equal to V transpose V all over n minus m, right? So the n minus m is the degree of freedom we have established here, which is 4 minus 2, and then we have gotten V, which is what? The residuals, right? Good. So what we need to do now is to transpose V and multiply it by itself, and then divide the product by n minus m, right? So it now means that VTV divided by n minus m will be, we are trying to compute for VTV. So VTV simply means, where is our V? This is our V, right? Good. So we are going to transpose this V. So these two matrices will multiply itself, and then you would have this as what? The operation. So by the time you simplify further, you would have 190 over 361. Please ensure that you confirm these values with your calculator. Please do that, right? So remember that we have told you earlier, you can have it in fraction, and then you can also have it in decimal. So in our own operation here, we retain the fractional aspect, and then by the time you find the squares and then you sum them together, you have 190 over 361. And then if you have used a fractional form, it will now be 190 over 361, which is simply 0.563. So let us maintain maybe 4 decimal places for our operations. So you have something like this, right? Good, as the answer here. Now we are going to divide by n minus m, which is 2. So when we do that, we have 190 over 722, which is simply 95 over 361. And then this can also still be simplified to have what? A fractional result, a decimal result, right? Good. Now let's couple them together as expressed above, where A, which is what the apostrophe variance is this, and then A transpose A, which we have gotten it to, is this, right? Good. So when we do the multiplication, we now have this multiplied by A transpose A inverse, and then you now see either you have it as a fraction or you have it as what? A decimal. By the time you multiply through, it's simply, okay, let's do for a few of them. So let's open a bracket, we have 95 divided by 361. So we close that bracket, right? Multiplied by, we open another bracket, 4 over 19. Then we close that bracket. So we have 0.0554, right? So that's simply this value that is here. If you simplify further, so let's take 380 divided by, we have 6859. You can see that they actually equal 20.261. 20 divided by 261, or 0.0554, right? Good. So that's how you go about your matrix multiplication. This multiplied by this multiplied by this multiplied by this, and then this multiplied by this, right? Good. Now we have a very special matrix, the variance-covariance matrix, which we have declared earlier that the diagonal elements are the variances, and then the up diagonal elements are what? The covariances, right? Good. So this is a very important characteristics of the variance-covariance matrix, which is part of the what? The post analysis, right? Good. So we now went ahead to compute the standard deviations of x, right? Good. Now for you to compute the standard deviation of x, we have to take the square root of the diagonal elements of the variance-covariance matrix, right? Good. So, and we have established earlier that the diagonal elements, let's scroll up a bit. Good. The diagonal elements are the variances, and then the up diagonal elements are the covariances, right? Good. So the diagonal elements, which are the variances, are what we are extracting to now find the standard deviation. So by the time we extract 380 divided by 6859, find the square root of that, then the square root of 3325 divided by 6859, it will now give you what? The standard deviation of each of what? The estimated parameters x, right? Good. So when we extract the elements, we have this, and then when we take their square root, we have 0.2354, and then that of the second one, we have 0.6963, right? Good. So this simply means that the reliability of each of those estimated parameters, when the values are smaller, it shows higher reliability, and then when the values are bigger, it shows lower reliability. So what this simply means that m, which is our estimated parameter 1, and then c, which is our estimated parameter 2, do not have equal reliability, right? Good. So m is having a higher reliability compared to what? To c, which is what? Having a lower reliability. So generally we have used the linear model of the observation equation method of least square adjustment, right? Good. To form the design matrix, the observation, getting the estimated parameters, then getting the residual, then moving to getting the variance-covariance matrix, right? Good. And then looking from the variance-covariance, we also got the standard deviation or the standard error of what? The estimated parameters. So we are going to see you on another interesting one. Until then, keep staying safe and have a fantastic time. Bye.